Hey everybody, welcome to the Sketchcraft Daily Podcast, or let's just be honest, it's gonna be semi-daily or frequent. How about the Sketchcraft Frequent Podcast? I like that, the Frequent Pod or something. I gotta figure out a catchy name for it. We'll work it out as we go. So I have been in the studio, right, working. My studio desk is a mess, you can see here. But we have been working on different commission types here. And it kind of started out with these two you see here. So this is my chunky bats, and this is a little Wolverine portrait. This is on 5x7 comic book backing board, BCW. This chunky bats is on Strathmore 4-ply, Strathmore 400 4-ply, which is what Alex Ross paints on. But for my purposes and my level of rendering, I'm no Alex Ross, this works fine. The backing boards work really nice, and they're cheap, and they're a little bit more rigid feeling. So this is the first one I did. This is a color pencil, a red ink color pencil, and then I inked over in black with a Winsor Series 7 #1 brush. So actually with the brush and the inks. And then the background is watercolor and distress ink. Let that dry. And then this cool little like stains, right? It's a little hard to see because the light's reflecting, right? But you get the idea. Look, looks over here. These little stains, this is actually marker. Copic markers have kind of gone in because it fades a little bit. And then I put UV spot varnish coat, a coat of UV spot varnish over to give it this nice sheen. And that actually makes the blacks look richer than they really are. Now, we come back over to here. This, again, is red ink, color pencil, and then black ink with the Winsor Series 7. This background, again, same here. This is watercolor and distress ink. And then I take something called clear gesso. So you got gesso and clear gesso. It's what painters use to prime their canvas. And so to clear gesso, which is what Drew Struzan uses, because it's clear and it has a sandpaper-like texture. I took it, diluted it. Now, if you take clear gesso, put it on top, and take a brush, it's going to smear the whole fucking drawing. But if you dilute it with water and put it in an airbrush, so get a cheapo airbrush, you can. I got a little pastry baker's airbrush you see here, right? Right. There's a little clicked up to a little tiny pump, whatever. It's a cheapo one. For my nice airbrushing needs, I got a nice. Check this sucker out. This is what I got for doing nice airbrush. This is an actual remote. This is the actual pump, the air. This actually creates. See, cool, right? So anyway, but I took clear gesso and put it over and let it dry, 1 or 2 coats, and that gives it a sandpaper-like texture, which I can take the pastel and put over. So this is purple pastel, you see here, purple pastel, and this is purple and blue pastel. It actually looked really 90s. And then I let it dry, and then I put gesso, and then I did black pastel, which gives it this cool graphic look, right? And you can see on the slide, tiny little asbats here. It's tiny little asbats here. I did the same thing. It's a little hard to see because it's fucking light. Goddamn light. So yeah, you can see, right? So same little deal. Now, I like the UV spot varnish look. With pastel, you can't do that because it darkens the fucking colors up, which I learned. Also, when you ship this stuff, you got to put glycine over it. This is glycine. It's like tracing paper, but it's made of wax. Put this over this, like wrap it around it to keep it from smudging. Because no matter what you put on it, whether it's fixative or gesso, it's going to smudge somewhat. It's good as pastels, but they look dope. So the thing I took away from this was 2 things. One, don't do this. This is kind of cool, like an early 90s way. Like when I was a kid and we used to go to the doctors, they had these really crazy pastel like paintings in the walls. That kind of reminds me of that 90s stuff. But that don't work. Do a tonal background with a color and black, or maybe 2 colors, like a purple and a blue, or like a red, like a green and a purple might work if it's like a Hulk. It has to be tied to the character. The other thing I learned was, and I have yet to test this, but I'm really going to try it soon, is I'm going to do this color pencil with ink, the background, and then I want to do a spot UV varnish coat. Let it completely dry for like an hour or 2, and then do a clear gesso over that, which only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to dry if you're going to do, and then I can do this pastel over that. So I should be able to get that cool, shiny look, but also get that pastel over that. And then when that's done, put a little gesso over that to keep it from smudging as much as possible. And then that's that. So when I'm in the lab doing tons of the same things, it's because I'm focusing on like the rendering or some other aspect in the drawing. By the way, inking with brush, we're going to be doing something on that soon because that's been really fun. I've been enjoying that, actually, with a real brush, not those fake Kuretagi or Pentel pen brushes. That's it, folks. Daily Sketchcraft podcast out. Frequent podcast out, whatever we're going to call this. See you there. Peace.